This episode of Express Training Bites is brought to you by PageFlip. Not going to in-person trade shows this year and still need to get your catalogs out to those distributors? Upload your digital catalog to Promo Corner's PageFlip. Contact sales at promocorner.com. Today on Express Training Bites, we are joined by Joe Durham. Joe, what's up, man?
How you doing, man?
Doing well. I have a great story. So Joe and I were actually talking right before this, and we had talked that we kind of knew each other through Facebook, through social media. We kind of seen each other, friends of friends, but never really interacted face to face. And during the 2019 Expo, I saw him walking down the aisle, and he was wearing a shirt of a kind of a logo that I had just started following, the Hustle shirt. He was wearing that. I ran out of my booth, stopped him in his tracks, showed him my Hustle sticker on the back of my phone. And from then on, we've just kind of had a better connection than just social, because that was the first time we met face to face. So yeah. I had the confidence to get out of the booth and go do that and stop you in your tracks, man. How do you, I know I've seen you on social media, and a lot of people follow you on social media. How do you stay so positive, and how do you transfer that positivity to your customers?
That's a good question. I mean, how do I stay so positive? I inundate myself with positivity. I think I learned a long time ago that, it's really easy to be negative. It's really easy to be kind of down in the dumps, and maybe not even by a fault of your own, or not intentionally. You intentionally, maybe you say that you want to be positive or whatever, but the things that are around you, the things that you allow to influence your life, whether it be people or the content that you consume on social media, because all of us are on our phones quite a bit, and probably more than maybe even, especially last year, more than social interactions with actual people. So we're consuming content at such a high rate that I decided that I have to be very, very intentional about the content that I'm consuming. And if the content that I'm consuming is positive, then I can in turn, take that and be positive. And as far as my customers, I mean, I think that I exude that positivity and I exude that confidence to them, just through, just by being me. I don't try to be, I don't put on a hat and say like, hey, this is Salesman Joe or whatever. And to be honest with you, I'm very transparent. I'm very real, and I'm very upfront with my customers. I actually, this is a legit thing that I tell my customers. I tell them point blank, usually not like on the first sentence or hey, my name's Joe Durham and blah blah blah. But one of the things that I tell them right up front is, as we're getting to know each other, I'll say, I want you to know that I'm probably going to be the worst salesman that you've ever had, that has ever come into your office, because I'm not going to try and sell you a thing. I don't want to sell you. I don't think people want to be sold. I think that they want to buy, and people buy from people that they know, like, and trust. And so I want to get to know you. I want you to like me. I want to like you, and I want to earn your trust. And it's worked for me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yo, I mean, and dude, I watch your social media, and you seem to have like an endless supply of like positive memes and quotes and all of that stuff. Where can the people listening find that stuff? Where do you find that?
Different places. For a long time when I was first starting out, I mean, there's one specific place, Google. I Googled it. I would Google inspiration. I would Google inspirational quotes. I would Google motivation. I would Google hustle. I would Google grind. I would Google whatever theme that I was, feeling at the time. I mean, because as the days go by, weeks, months, year goes by, you're in different places, and you're not in the same place in January that you are in July, and so motivation and things like that. And then, as I progressed into more social media, especially Instagram specifically, just following hashtags, and then following the hashtag that speaks to you, whether it be inspiration or motivation or morning, or coffee or workout or fitness or whatever the case may be. If you follow those things, you'll see a lot of things. And I mean, we are in the R&D industry, so I rip off and duplicate just about everything that I get. The thing is I'll get a lot of the images. I'll get a lot of the images from whether it's Google or Instagram or whatever, copy and paste, screenshot, everything like that. But one thing that I do, every caption, just about every caption that it comes with a post that I make is me. Those are my thoughts. That's how I feel like I'm creating content in the social media space.
I have seen you do that, and I've read a lot about that. A lot of people are starting to call it microblogging, and I think you've done a really good job of taking that inspirational quote or meme or image and then adding your touch to it. That's Joe. Joe is down in that microblog. So that's awesome, man. I love that. I've got a
microblogger. I'm now a microblogger.
Yeah, microblogger. Yeah, I just recently learned that, so that's a new term to me as well.
Who knew? Not me.
And then the last one that I always want to ask is why do you do it? Right? Everybody says, "Oh, I'm positive because I want to be all that." But why? Is it so that you can grow better sales? Is it so that you're just happier in your career, better customers? Why do you do it?
Man, I want to be happy. I want to be happy. And so I do it because I feel like, being positive is immensely better than being, down in the dumps or negative or condescending or anything like that. Nobody wants to be around somebody like that. And we're in a sales business, and we have to, whether it's, and believe it or not, people can, I do think that people and our customers can tell if you're, if you have predominantly a pessimistic or a negative attitude, they can see that even in the text, in the email that you send, and then if they get to know you at all. And I mean, our life is somewhat of an open book. I know that there are probably some people that aren't on social media and don't use social media at all. They're not watching this episode right now, but if they're on social media, they get to see who you are, and they get to see like what kind of person you are. They get to see the posts that you make, whether it be on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. And so I do it because being happy and being positive is way better than being pessimistic and negative.
Love it. I love it, man. Yeah. And Amelia Model just chimed in too and said, positivity makes others smile. I think I know that's why I do it. One of the quotes on my personal email, I always put little quotes at the bottom. It says, smile, someone is looking at you. Like there's just just because what's happening right in front of you is negative, there's always somebody looking at you for inspiration. So that is awesome. I love that, man.
Speaking to that, I love the quote that says that you have no idea how many people you're inspiring, that you have no idea, like you have no idea how many people that are watching you and drawing inspiration from you. Mm-hmm. And I think about that from time to time, like, that's what our life is. We're, even if it's your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your kids or, your spouse or whatever, somebody probably has, and the quote talks about like, you probably don't even know who they are.
Right.
They may be seeing you from afar, but, makes a difference. And we all have a platform. We all have influence, whether we believe it or not.
Mm-hmm. Well, that leads me to the other side of being a confident person. I have been told several times that I'm too much for people, that my energy gets too high. I come off as being egotistical or narcissistic. And so how can you tell the people listening, do you have a story about maybe sometime that's happened to you and kind of how you dealt with it? And just, because that's a hard thing to hear. So can you speak on something like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Man. So when I first started posting regularly and everything, and I would post positive messages and everything like that, and I had someone that I know that I know personally send me a text message and said exactly that, told me, man, you're a narcissist. And to be honest with you, I had to Google what a narcissist was because I didn't know. I was like, thank you. I don't think, maybe, I don't know. But I Googled it and I saw what it meant. And I was like, oh, I was floored. I was crushed because I knew this person and they know me. They know me on a personal level, not just a social media level. Like I personally know this person. And they told me that. And I was like, oh, it just crushed me. And for like, it was probably 2 or 3 days, I didn't post anything just because I thought, is that who I am? Is that what I'm really doing? And again, because I was intentional about choosing the people that I was going to allow to influence me on social media, I would still consume social media. So one of the things that I saw was, it was something from Gary Vee, and where he talked about, just the opinions of other people and how are you going to let the opinion of somebody else dictate what you do and how you live your life? And, basically bleep that, you can't do that, and so it was at that point where I was like, you know what? I respect this person and I am still friends to this day with this person, but they're not in charge of my life. They're not in charge of my happiness. I'm in charge of it, and it's my show to run. And so that was the thing. But I mean, it took me for a minute, because I didn't want to be fake. I didn't want to be disingenuous. And I didn't think that I was being that. But to hear that from somebody, and you know what, the great thing about any social media platform, whether it's Facebook or Instagram or whatever, is, you don't have to follow everybody. If somebody's not for you, it's like a huge buffet, man. You can go in and take what you want. I mean, you get what you go after. And so if you're going after somebody that's going to be positive and uplifting and encouraging and motivational and hopefully inspirational, then hopefully I'm one of those people that you see, as well as a plethora of other people, because there's tons of people out there. But yeah, that's kind of it.
That's awesome. Yeah. And speaking of people, so you mentioned Gary Vee. I'm a huge follower as well. So I ask this a lot of people that find that inspiration, right? Shannon Laredo, Nadav, Kirby, all those guys, they're always so positive when they post things. And I ask them, who are some people that they follow that help them stay energized? So I'm going to ask you too, who are some of the people inside and outside of the industry that you follow that you feel do a really good job of being inspirational as well?
Shannon Laredo is one. I just started following her maybe last year sometime, or maybe a little over, maybe 2 years ago, I think it was. Just super positive, super energetic. And then over time, and I think that, like with anybody, you follow them and you start to see some things, and then, you keep an eye on it to find out, like, is this really who this person is? She and I have never met in person or anything like that. We've exchanged, back and forths or whatever. And, but she seems like a very, very genuine person. And so somebody like that. Kirby's another one. People that I follow that just seem to be genuinely. And then there's people that, that I've met in person, that like, yeah, you see their social media side, but, nobody's posting their failures. Nobody's posting their shortcomings or anything like that. It's a plethora of all the good things, and the only time they are posting something, that could potentially be viewed as negative is if what they want to. So you're only seeing what they're allowing you to see. And that's a perspective thing that I've, picked up as the years have gone along. Outside of the industry, Lewis Howes, Ed Milet, Gary Vee, I'm trying to think. I went and did a run last year in March with Jesse Itzler here in Atlanta. He posted, he was doing this thing where, he talked about he was going to do a group run, and anybody that wanted to show up could show up. And so I showed up on both days to just run with him, and just to there's so much, man. I could talk for days about it, because I heard Gary Vee say this one time about getting as close to the sun as you possibly can. Get close to the people that are influential. Mm-hmm. David Goggins is another one. Saw him, what was it, a year ago in Vegas at PPAI. So, which, that a lot of those people have, there are so many common threads, mm-hmm. in everything that they do. While they all have their own niche, Gary Vee definitely has, not suitable for work lane.
And he's totally okay with that too. Like, everybody who has ever asked him, why do you cuss so much? He has the perfect answer. He's like, you're listening, aren't you? Like,
well, there is a thing about that. And so he's got an office in Chattanooga, and I think he was up there when there was one of the clip comes out, and she's like, she's like, do you curse around your kids? He's like, absolutely. She's like, why? And he's like, because that's me. And he has a whole answer that I won't go into now, but yeah. It's amazing. So, he might not be the person for everybody. He might not be the person that you want to listen to, because, vulgar language turns you off. But the message, the thing that resonated with me about him, and he was one of the first ones. He was one of the first ones probably 5 or 6 years ago. The message was like, there's a saying, like, when you hear when you hear the truth, you'll know it. And hear the truth sets you free. But like, I was like, oh my God, he is speaking to my, every part of me right now. Mm-hmm. So, the message is the key, for sure.
That's awesome. Last little thing to kind of wrap it up here. So we're in you and I kind of talked about it before we went live, but we're in a digital age now where we're looking into a computer screen, right? We're staring into that little dot that's not just for the CIA anymore. We're actually interacting with our customers there and getting our education from it. So how can people still, and I think you said something along the lines of a lot of communication is, the movements that people make, the face and all that. What are some tips that people can take away from today to kind of help them still maintain that confidence and also make sure that they're, in the right mood or doing the right thing online?
Man, I think there are things that you can do leading up to a meeting to boost your confidence and everything like that. And I think that I think at the baseline of all of it, it starts with I think that self-awareness is such a huge thing. And I don't think it's something that's talked about at all for salespeople. Like, we just think of like the robotics of like, what is the product that I'm selling, or what is the thing, and this and that. I think, to me, this is just me, I think that understanding yourself, knowing who you are, knowing what you're good at, knowing what you suck at, is huge. And I think that and it's not like an overnight thing. I think that it evolves, really diving deep into figuring out who you are and what makes you tick and what makes you happy and what makes you smile and what brings out the best side of you. What people are you around when you feel your best? What things build that self-confidence? And I just think that being aware of who you are makes you the best version of yourself. And the best version of yourself is probably a confident version of yourself. And then I think that as far as that relates to your sales and how you interact with your customers, I think that so many times, I think that we focus on our weaknesses more than we double down on our strengths. And, yes. if you're great at talking, again, like I said before, people buy from people that they know, like, and trust. And mm-hmm. if they can get to know you, and you're not a jerk. I feel like probably everybody's a really genuinely good person when you start to do those things and you start to incorporate all the positivity and inspiration and things like that. All of these things are going to flow together. Maybe it's going to inspire you to start getting in shape or working out. And when you do that, you're going to, feel better about yourself. Your confidence is going to go up, and then, you're going to find out what your strengths are. But I think that we focus a lot of times on maybe improving our areas of weakness more than, just doubling down on what we're good at,
Yep.
and because when you're good at something, man, that builds confidence too. You get it can be small wins, little things that come out that builds your confidence up and up and up. So but I think that it all starts with self-awareness, understanding who you are and understanding what makes you tick.
I love it, man. Hey, keep it up for us, please. And how can people find you on social media? Do you have a specific handle that you use, or is it just your name?
It's Joe Durham 52. Why 52? That's just was the number that I wore in college.
Oh, sweet.
So,
That's awesome.
Joe Durham 52. Yep.
Joe, thank you so much for being on Express Training Bites, man. And thank you so much to everybody who watched. Yes, we do replay these. I did see a comment on the Facebook thread. We do record these and put them back up on Promo Journal on Tuesday afternoons. So you can, if you miss these live, you can always find the video there. Plus it lives here on Facebook. Once we're done with this live, the video will be available the entire time. So you can always go back and hear Joe's amazing words of encouragement and some of the stories that he's got to share, because it was pretty awesome today. Again, thank you so much, Joe.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, man. We will see everybody next Thursday for another Express Training Bites. Have a good weekend.